Hi, everybody. It's Patrice Sandstrom and the beautiful Erin Wheelock, and we are talking about referrals today. So how and why to create your business or grow your business using referrals, local, international, and then in the US. So we're excited that you guys joined us and we can't wait. And Bonnie was with us this morning already. So she's going to really participate and lead the class today, right, Bonnie?
Maybe I'll chime in here.
I love it. We'll take a chime in. Erin, would you like to say something before we get started?
Just that there's no better person to be running this class than Patrice, because she's really mastered a lot of the international referrals, and we're going to get a lot of really good stuff.
Hopefully so. No pressure, no pressure. Well, thank you guys for coming. We just did this class in Danville a little bit this morning. So some of the people are doing the class back and forth, which is why I was kind of teasing Bonnie. Of course, Bonnie, no one has to participate unless they really want to, but as you've seen, the classes are so much better when we have participation from everyone, because Erin and I are here to inspire and give ideas. And it just, when we start having discussion, it gets so much deeper. So definitely everyone is very, very welcome and encouraged to participate. And we're so grateful that you're here. So I'll start off with kind of our intro. It kind of starts with how I met Erin. So I met Erin earlier this year, and it was at Family Reunion in France. And Erin was on a panel teaching a class on selling luxury real estate in New York City. Before then, I didn't know Erin. And before that family reunion, I didn't even know that I could go to family reunions around the world, and it wasn't something that was on my radar. And to be honest, although I did receive referral business at a decent pace, it wasn't a real pillar of my business that I was actually working. So it's something that's new for me just this year. So how it happened is that I know David Hitt very well. He and I volunteered together at Mega Relief, and then we took bold classes together. And David is he's the #1 referred agent in Los Angeles, and he is all about relationships and connections. I met him again at Mega Relief, and he just went out and just started talking with people. It made me really excited, but also kind of uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, I wish that I had the strength to go up and just talk to strangers. But that literally is what he did. He just went up and started meeting all of us, and we were all on bus 31. Woo woo! And I've actually gotten a lot of referrals from bus 31, and I always give David Hitt some of the credit because he broke the ice and started asking everyone questions. And he began really building a relationship with all of us at one time. And it's interesting because it kind of let our guard down. And so we started becoming real people instead of being a bunch of strangers. And so that was the start. So David Hitt posted that he was going to be teaching with Erin. He and Ronald Shore were going to be teaching a class with Erin on luxury real estate. And I was like, I said something in French just to show off my scrawny amount of French. And he said, you should come. And I was like, no way, that's never going to work out. And he was relentless and said, you should come. And I was like, oh, okay, what the heck, right? I've never been to France. We'll do it. So I went with thinking, like, how smart is this? I'm going to go to France. Surely I'm going to meet agents there. If nothing more, I'm going to meet 21 other Americans, and maybe we might be able to build a relationship. And that is exactly what happened. And it's literally changed my life. So on that event, we all went to the conference. We all had real relationships with European agents, European business owners, and Americans. And we had a really great time, came back really close together. And then all of a sudden COVID hit, right? So next thing you know, we're all on lockdown. And for some reason, we all had a connection. And so we started talking with one another and building these real relationships. And that's really the basis of the whole thing, right? Is we began building genuine relationships that were intended only to be friendly and support. But what happened is through COVID, and ever since our business changed and I didn't have open houses to go to, and I wasn't going on broker tours, I think the entire world started flocking a lot more to social media and Zoom. And because of that, we all started supporting one another's business. And so I can say for sure that we've all gone out of our way to get business for one another. Erin has become my peak performance partner, and we've grown since then. So that's what this class is all about, is kind of talking about the journey and how and why to build a referral business. And again, for me, it kind of happened as an accident. So that's how it works. Since June, and I had a kind of a tricky year this year, since June, I've received 36 referrals from agents, and it wasn't something that I expected. I've never had that kind of pace before. We haven't closed all of these deals. A lot of them are just those connections, but the reason is nothing more than just being in relationships. So that's what this class is about today. Erin, we'll move on to the next, but can you share some more of your story or anything else? Because you've actually also gotten a lot of referral business. Not exactly the same way. We're doing things differently, but it's really the same outcome, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you hit everything perfectly. The only thing that I would add is it's also, you know, until you really think about this and making this a part of your business, it doesn't really happen. But the minute that you actually understand how much opportunity there is in referring literally anywhere in the world, that's then when the magic starts to happen.
I love that. And again, it's one of those things that Erin and I now are very purposeful, and she said that word in our last class to say it, very purposeful and intentional about creating the kind of relationships and making real estate referrals business, giving out referrals and receiving referrals from other agents, a part of our business in one of those pillars. So how fortunate are we that we work for Keller Williams, which is the largest real estate company in the world, and that they have a branch called KWW, Keller Williams Worldwide. We now have over, I think, 51 countries that are there. We have over 170,000 agents. And these agents are so excited about Keller Williams. They just love American Keller Williams agents, and they just want to know and learn everything. And so it's really a unique opportunity that we have being Keller Williams agents. Even the newest agent here kind of has access to more than a lot of the international agents have, right? So you really do have something of value that you can use to build relationships and connections with these guys, and they just can't wait to hear about it, which is really, really neat. So that's number one. You guys make sure you're asking questions. Otherwise, I'm going to use some of the questions that we had from our last. And so a lot of the people in our last class were asking, like, how do you do that and kind of where do you go? And again, it goes back to Erin's comment earlier about being purposeful. And so we literally, first of all, we started with people that we naturally met. We also are making sure to have conversations and seeing people. It's all on social media to begin with, right? As we're seeing people that have similar values and lifestyles, and that look like they could be in alignment. So if you're a new agent, it may be beneficial to try and find someone who's a new agent, or if you're running a team, it may be nice to find someone who's a team. Stephanie on my team is a buyer specialist, so obviously that would be fantastic. And we're saying the word international, and of course, Erin and I met in France, but this also applies to all of the US, right? We're also doing a heck of a lot of business in the US, and we have offices and market centers everywhere in the US. So you definitely should be reaching out to your US partners. Erin, earlier in our last class, you taught everyone how to find out, how to find and command where most of the sales are going to and from. So will you do that for us a little bit later in our class as well? Because I think that's really
absolutely.
beneficial.
If it works now, or at least I'll show you.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're just getting us to it, and everyone will be able to click through. So that'll be something that's nice. But the main thing, you guys, is you just have to get started, right? You just have to have that communication. I literally said I didn't know Erin a year ago, and now she is an amazing referral partner. She's one of my business people. But it really, our business, we were introduced one way, but really, you and I just started this connection and this relationship, right? And part of it is, again, we have our global ambassadors, and during COVID, we just started having these communications and doing genuine support of one another, and it's really developed. And I think that's something that's so important about referral business, is it's completely different from all of the other type of business that we go after, which is, I expect if I'm gonna make some phone calls today, that I'm hoping that I'm gonna have a listing appointment at the end of it that can potentially turn into a signed contract that within about 90 days is going to turn into a closed sale, right? That's what we do day in and day out for our lead generation. And we're not saying to change that. That's also important. You need today business. However, when you're doing the referral-based business, it would be really weird if you go up and just go to everybody and just to go start out with like, hi, my name is Patrice. Who do you know that's looking to move to the Bay Area? And, oh, I'd like to be your agent. That may be, it may work statistically. I think that you actually maybe get something, but I think you would be short-sighted, because this type of building business is all about building relationships and coming from contribution. So Erin, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And also I would like to just share, why don't I just show you how to get there so that you know where you could be building these relationships? I just need your permission to share the screen. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't anticipating as I should. Okay, so I screen shared. I plus everybody else can screen share. Whoops.
Thanks.
Did that work?
I will tell you. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, look, many of you are New Yorkers like me. When people send me a message and they're like, hey, people are moving here, I want to be there for you. I'm like, no. But if you go to them and say, hey, I have a lot of people moving to your neighborhood, I would love to start a relationship, I think it just goes a lot further. So you hit this little tab called referrals. Yay. Then you go up to this map button, click it. I know an error has occurred. So this is going to automatically go on production, but you're going to want to see how it says search map, and then this, you want to click on referral patterns. We're getting an error today. It's okay. This with the arrow going up is sent, right? So that's going to look at our market center here. Where are they going to? And it really branches out into this whole map of like this percentage is going here, this percentage is going here, et cetera. So those are people that I highly suggest being in a relationship with. And then this is going to be received, and it's not even coming up. But when you click received, it'll show where all of the referrals are coming from to, like for here, to New York. And I would find referral partners in each of those areas. And again, I wouldn't go to them. This is just me. I wouldn't go to them and say, hey, I'm seeing that people are moving here. I want to be your go-to person. My personal way of doing it would be I would go to those places and be like, hey, I don't have anybody in your area. I would love to become your referral partner. So you can, be mutually beneficial instead of just asking for business. So that is that.
I love that, Erin. And I'm looking at mine to see if mine might do something different. I have to say, I don't always know how to do that, but let me see if mine has the same error too. Production. And Erin, you're teaching me because nope, I've got the same error. So right now everyone's probably going to have an error, but at least they can take notes and see how to do this. But I haven't really done this either. So it's amazing how we're all inspiring each other to do something new. I knew that was possible,
Yay.
but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't do that before. So again, Erin's given you a way to very strategically, right? I'm saying that it's going to take a while and you're not necessarily just going to ask them for business, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to be strategic, right? You may as well be building, if you're going to be building a relationship with someone, heck, why not have it be someone that has a higher likelihood of being able to send you business, right? And I don't think we need to be embarrassed by that, you guys. Referrals are good for both the giver and the receiver, right? So it is a win-win. And I think it's like, I'm always funny and I'm always like, I love paying referral fees. Like I say that all the time when I'm asking for it. When we do close a deal and I give them that check, I always am like, that's the best $10,000 check I've ever written. How can I do another one? Put me to work for you. I'm like your expansion partner. I go over the top, making sure that they know that there's a benefit, right? Oh, and by the way, I want to find you business because I would love to get free money because that's really what this is when you're getting these referral with these guys. So use that tool for sure. And again, we all know it's not working right now. And that'll make me think about Erin and I'll talk about it again after, but we're going to start doing a mastermind every Friday morning. And at the beginning of this class, we're working on getting a schedule where we'll be able to go deeper in some of these topics that we discussed, but Quinn didn't get that much farther, right? So obviously the program is not working right now. We said that in the first class of Command. Command isn't perfect. Command seems to be the app that goes along with the MREA book, which is amazing, and it's in process right now. So there will be errors from time to time. I think everybody, if you expect it, then you're like, okay, no big deal, right? So we'll just have to pick something up. So we will go into this topic at another time on a mastermind and we'll be able to share a little bit more. But again, you may as well be strategic. But most of you guys know anyway. I know in the Bay Area, everyone's going to Seattle, they're going to Idaho, they're going to Utah, they're going to places that are a little less expensive. And I'm guessing in New York City, you guys probably have those same patterns. I would guess New Jersey, Connecticut, right? Upstate New York. And I'm guessing there's a handful of other states around there. So you can easily do it that way. And you guys, I don't know if you know, but I taught a class in my market center today, and Erin's teaching a class in her market center today. It is totally okay for people in different market centers to have multiple relationships with people, right? We're teaching in our market center, knowing that we're actually creating competition for ourselves because this is at Keller Williams and it's all about that abundance mindset. So when you're calling these market centers, don't think you have to choose the one person and hope that that's the person that'll be great. You're building relationships. So don't be afraid of having those with more than one person and then finding out who you're a natural fit with. So some people you're going to have great conversations and some people you might It may not be, it's probably not going to be bad, but maybe you wouldn't feel like this is going to be someone that you want to, right? We're looking at a relationship that will be an MREA style conversation of 36 touches a year. And we're looking at over a 2-year span. It might take 2 years before they give you any business. So you want to make sure it's someone that you want to talk to 72 times, because otherwise it's not going to be fun. That's the cool thing about this referral business, is you really get to be yourself. You get to put your personality out there a little bit more, and you get to find someone who's a real natural match for you. So.
And also make sure that you don't skip that step. That's really important. That's one thing if you get a referral suggestion from someone that you know and you trust, but don't just find a name randomly and send it off. If you don't know somebody in that area, ask somebody that has a lot of referral partners if they know somebody. If you want to build your own relationship, which I do highly suggest, I would call the team leader of the office in the area you're looking for. And I would ask that team leader, like, who is going to be the best person to serve this kind of a client? Because they also want to keep receiving referrals, right? So they're going to definitely put you in touch with somebody that's the best, and have a conversation with that person. Go the extra mile of asking questions, asking their production, what is their style, set expectations of what you want to get out. How often do you want feedback from them? How often do they want, vice versa, right? If you're receiving it, how often does the other person want feedback? And then from there, build your own relationship and then give that referral. I feel bad because I've done it myself. I was like, oh, here's somebody in this office. And right now that client of mine is listed with someone else.
We hear that story all the time. And to be honest, I think that's a lot of times why agents don't want to go the extra effort, because it is extra effort, you guys. And again, it's extra effort, which is lead generation that isn't looking for today business, right? You're building your relationship on someone else. And so Erin's so right. We hear that all the time, that just because you give out that name doesn't mean it's going to be handled well. And it is your responsibility to set those expectations, because you're the one that's giving that client, right? Personally, I think it's your responsibility when you're receiving it to set those expectations. I think everything's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to go out and meet the people, and it's your responsibility, right? That's our job as realtors, is we are the person who manages the transaction. And I think I think when this is done well, it's done by agents who are not afraid of saying, I'm going to take control and I'm going to be responsible for my part of the job and your part of the job, right? One way or the other. And I'm going to set those expectations. So thank you, Erin. I think that is absolutely important. And the expectations would be, of course, the standard is 25% referral, and that is pretty much applies around the world, you guys. So, but you always want to make sure to ask that up front. That is the first thing that I say. When someone gives me a referral, I'm always like, oh my God, I love paying a 25% referral fee. I say it that way intentionally because sometimes people like a 30% referral fee. I don't do 30%. I don't have to do 30%. I do 25% because I have a team and we have enough splits as it is. And so I make sure to say that up front in that kind of a way, so that if there's an uncomfortable conversation, I want it to be within the first 30 seconds and I want it to be on my terms, right? We can always come to a resolution, but how awkward would it be if you've already met the client? It's then too late once you've converted. That person is like, it's their client, right? So you can own that. So make sure that you are very, very specific on that, on the communication styles, kind of in the follow-up. And then how often do you want to be contacted? For our team, we actually have created a whole relationship system where we're touching that agent that gives the referral twice a month. So we're literally sending them an email constantly and telling them what's going on. And by the way, most of the time it's nothing's going on, right? It's like the client's getting pre-approved. We're just looking. They're not in the area yet. He hasn't called me back. So a lot of times we're actually giving those kind of, we're giving that kind of feedback. It's nothing exciting. It's nothing that back in the old days, I didn't give that kind of feedback. I would only tell them when it was like at a position point. I think that's sometimes natural. It's like, I met the client. Yes. He likes me. Yes. We're in contract. Yes. Here comes your check. Those were the only times I used to communicate with people. And now that this is a pillar of my business, my job is to build a relationship with that agent. And so I want to talk with them and give them data and content as much as possible. So since we've been doing that, instead of getting just one deal a year, which used to be our average, we're getting up to 3 deals a year. With I think like 3 or 4 agents this year have given us multiple deals. They didn't even know they were going to have that business, but because we made it so easy and I'm so in their face all the time, and I'm so like, they see me working for them, they're like, oh my God, Patrice is like a part of our business, right? If I just give her this deal, she's going to take care of it and I have nothing to worry about. So I really want you guys, again, if you're going to get into this business, you really need to be strategic about that too. Because in my mind, the agent is the more important client than the actual person buying or selling the house.
Do you, when you say you talk to them twice, you contact them twice a month, is that only when you're in the process of a referral, or is that, do you continue that? That was a question I was going to ask both you and Erin is your agents in your like DTD2 system? Are they in some other, like, how do you ensure that once you form these great relationships, how do you ensure you're keeping contact with them consistently
I love that.
on a regular basis?
Yeah. I love that. And in the last class, I was saying that for me, the relationship, like I'm building the relationship and I'm talking with them before they give me the client. The minute they give me the client, that's my opportunity to really step up that relationship. So that's when we do the every 2 weeks, the constant updates. And I have to admit, Liz, who's our team coordinator, she emails those agents. I only talk with them personally if there's something really detailed that's going on, and those are the thank yous. So there's a lot of things. Once it closes, again, they get a personal phone call from me. They get another gift. They get a gift when they first refer, and they get a gift when it closes, the referring agent. If an agent connects me with an agent who then gives me a client, or even if an agent connects me with an agent who connects me with an agent who connects me with an agent who gives me a client, and we just close one of those, every one of them gets a present at every portion. So they get a small present when they're saying thank you. They get another present when it's ending because we're looking to build that up. And then after, Stephanie, to be honest, this is so new, as you know, getting all this referral is new for us. So now I have a newsletter. So I send out a bomb newsletter once a month. And then I'll be doing the second newsletter that we're going to be adding in is going to have like properties from all around the world that are exciting from some of my partners, which by the way is going to be happy and helpful to my partners. And also they're going to get to see things that are interesting. So we do it that way. And I use AM cards that I send out to them twice a year. So they're getting a little card. By the way, Erin's about to teach this on Wednesday, right? This is MREA database level 2. So yes, they are as valuable or more valuable as a client. And the way I see it is they're wholesale to me. And they're personally on my team, that's my job, is to try and be in relationship with people that might give us 3, 4, and 5 deals a year. So
do you separate, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand. Do you separate, like, do you have a database of agents and then a database of clients, or are they integrated? So you kind of follow the same system for both?
So for me, there's 2, and Erin, I'd love to hear yours too. So mine are all in command. So the tags are which has them. And what's neat is this past week, we are actually just doing, for our referral partners, we just send out gifts to everybody. So I've just gone through this list again. So I have a tag for my referral partners who have given us business this year. We have a tag for my referral partners who are just my global connections. We have a tag for our referral partners that are my global ambassadors. I have another group called A League of Our Own where we help each other and support each other's business. They have a tag. So they all have a tag because they may get to a different level of relationship with me, depending on how much business they do. So, and they're all in command. However, in my AM cards, they are separated. And in my my BombBomb, they're separated because my agents are getting one newsletter and then my sphere is getting another newsletter. So the answer is both. And it does get to be complex, and I keep having to update those databases over and over again. But again, it's very well worth it too.
And as you know, I'm still learning command. So when you tag them that way, you can pull them up and then do something for all of them if you wanted to do a newsletter or something, correct?
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And again, for me, I actually pay in the BombBomb and what's called the prompt program. So I have they write for me a referral agent, like that one that's written for agents. And then there's one that's written for like your regular sphere. And they're a little bit different each time. So when I do my videos, I'm like, hey, thanks for being my referral partner. And then I do a second video that's like, hey, thank you for being in our world and being our past clients and referring us business. It's very, very similar, but I do approach them both differently. And some stuff like that international newsletter, everybody's going to get that the same, because I think everybody's going to want to see what beautiful New York penthouse Erin has, and to see which house on Saint-Tropez. You know, when I'm sending different things, those will go to everybody. Does that make sense? And by the way, we're learning it too, right? And that's what this whole class is about, is learning the different ways in Command. One of the things that I'm so excited about in Command is the colored tags. So my referral partners can all be, I don't know if they're purple or red because Liz does most of the stuff, but they can all be a certain color, but still have different tags in there. So it'll be really easy for me to see it, right? The same way that you would do your vendors. We're trying to figure out where to put vendors in all of this, because vendors are kind of referral partners and then they're kind of sphere. And that, to be honest, is an unusual gray area that I want to figure out too. Does anybody have any ideas or comments on how I'm doing it, how Stephanie's suggesting? Because I'd love to hear other ways too.
I haven't got to that level, but I love listening.
Do you have any ideas? I mean, again, I think sometimes from the objective, I think it's great.
So far, I only have 8 tags for agents, and that's it. So
okay, well, and hey, simple is always good. I think that's a big deal. So I love that. And again, you just want to be in relationship.
Just to add to that too, just to keep it simple, everybody should be getting their referrals through Kelly if you can, or through Command at least, because it's so simple to go on the Command thing and just type in a quick update. It's right on there. You just type in your notes of that agent for the update. I highly suggest doing that.
I love that. So other ways that you can certainly get all of your referral partners, right? You're looking people up. Erin has a, I don't know, I always call it a class, Erin, like your podcast, but she does a Where to Wheelock video where she's interviewing agents from all around the country, right? And so one of the things that could be interesting, obviously you should learn about those areas. You should learn about places that you're interested in. So that's number one. You don't want to be having conversations about a place that you really aren't interested in talking about. But imagine, you're learning these things. Erin has people that are commenting. Erin has people that are liking. You could start by looking at who are these people that are obviously interested in international connections and relationships as well, right? Erin and I, that's part of how we ended up forming this good connection, is because we found that we were having relationships with a lot of the same people, because there are people around the world that were connecting. So, you should pay attention to the social media thing on Facebook and see who's out there. And then once you have something and you find, if you're doing a post for your own listing, you can find agents that you know and literally go through and tag everyone. So one of my wonderful specialties is that, and I think that's again how I started getting tagged by other people, because now I get tagged by agents all the time around the world when they have listings, and it's really nice. I always feel excited to be like, so-and-so tagged you. I'm like, yay! I feel so special. That is really cool. That didn't happen for me though, you guys, before I started tagging them, right? So I literally go through, and when I have something that's interesting, like a class, if I'm promoting something else or my own listings, you really should go through and tag everybody. Because again, how can you come from contribution? It's by making someone else special that's before then, which really makes a big difference.
Well, it's not even just that. That's a huge part of it. And what it allows is for you to stay top of mind, right? Because you're constantly tagging these people. They see that you're constantly doing work. I mean, I know that I've gotten referrals from people because I've tagged them in things, and they're like, oh, Erin is doing work, right? And otherwise, if you're not on the phone with these people, if you're not, adding them to your newsletters, they're just going to forget about you. And then the minute they need someone here, they have no idea, right?
Totally.
Eileen.
Yeah,
Eileen.
I'm sorry. Yes, I just wanted to clarify and ask about when you're saying tagging, are you, because I know that you do some, I watch your Instagram and I know you're talking to different people. Are you talking about tagging people specifically on Instagram at this point in time, or are you talking about the tagging within Command?
Oh, that is a really good point. Yeah. Because that is
on Facebook. I love that. Like on Facebook or anywhere on social media.
Too. Yeah. So literally calling them out and clicking that tagging button so that you're, again, starting that connection. Yes. And you know how it works. And we talked about this in our last class. When you're sharing and tagging people, you're getting a chance to be part of their circle, right? So people are seeing you, they're seeing your exposure, and tons of, by the way, once you start this, you are going to be flooded with people coming to you and asking you to be their friend, right? And then it's up to both you and them to build that connection going back and forth. But absolutely, that's such a big part. And that's such a good question.
Because I was a little unsure at first, because I'm like, I mean, I need to play around a little bit more with this what were you showing, the referral patterns? Because I understand how to go on to the referrals, but I haven't gotten that pattern situation down.
Yeah.
But Erin's very good. I know when speaking to you, you said you need to do Facebook more because of how beneficial it has been to her. But with whether it's Instagram or Facebook, so tagging is just the same then. So I guess we can just make it's all around the same idea.
The only difference is with Facebook, if you are like, let's say you're sharing a property and then you tag all these people from all over, they can actually then have it on their post. So now you have their entire sphere that's also seeing it. So that's really the main difference between Facebook and Instagram as far as tagging other people in it.
Yeah,
So
and you
it's a
should do
little bit more
both, by the way,
viral.
right? You should do both. And this is something that we spoke about, and I'm sure a lot of you guys follow Erin. Some of you probably see me out there. So I have my brand and my image. I'm #happyagent, and I'm specifically paying attention to, we're fun. We do a lot of business. We get award. Like, I have my image. And you guys, I always like to be upfront about this. This used to be so awkward. Sometimes it still is awkward to like put my name out there. And sometimes it is awkward. And I feel like, oh my God, who is my ego that I'm going out there and tagging people around the world? Like, do they really want to see my posts? I think that. And I think a lot of us do naturally think that. And I just have to get over it because I'm my best spokesperson. And this is a business. And I can't be afraid of putting myself out there a little bit. And it's amazing how well people respond. And what happens is they're actually complimented. Like, again, I have my drunk monkey, as we used to say in Bold, right? My drunk monkey is like, nobody wants to be tagged by you. But the reality is people are like, oh my God, Patrice tagged me. Like, I feel really special. Just like when other people tag me, I feel really special. And then you share their post, right? And for me, like, I get tagged on a lot of listings. Erin does as well. And we share it. And I say something like, oh my God, I get Paris a lot. So it's like, oh my God, do you want to be an American in Paris? I loved old movies. So it started with, I would kind of write a little text of, I've always wanted to be an American in Paris. Who else wants to be? And so now I tag that every time they tag me. And I've had 2 people that hasn't turned into business yet, but 2 people that reached out to me and have said, Patrice, I do want to move to Paris or to France someday. And I would like to have that dialogue. So I'm sharing for him. I'm giving him exposure. Oh, by the way, I'm now having a dialogue. I look like a cool international agent, #global agent, right? Which is neat. So people are seeing me, they're seeing my brand and my image as someone who does a lot of global business, right? Maybe they're going to come to me later. And then I'm literally getting leads from it. So the possibilities are endless. And I think it's so important that you guys all each think about your brand and getting that exposure out there. Like you just said, Erin has gotten a lot of business from Facebook and social media. You have to be purposeful. And I think we talked about this in our last meeting too. This is a funny business because you are your own business. And so partly we like to seem like cool and nonchalant, like I can take business or I can leave it. Of course I'm successful. Everything's fine. I don't need to beg you for business, which is why we don't want to lead generate. It's uncomfortable. And at the same time, if we want the business and we want to run it, we also have to be a professional. And we are our own image. And we have to be that brand ambassador for ourselves and really put it out there.
Well, I think hopefully what you guys are taking from what Patrice is saying is that if you want a referral business, it's a business.
It's a business,
not
yeah.
I want to be a part of referrals and let things happen. It is, I'm going to be purposeful every day. Yes. I'm going to feature people's properties in my newsletter. I'm going to take the extra 10 minutes to tag 50 people on this post. I'm going to chat these people to see what of their properties I can post. Like, it is a business. It should be one of your 3 forms of lead generation. And if it's not, honestly, I wouldn't even bother, because if you're going to half-ass it, you're only wasting your own time. But if you want to be really on purpose and make this one of your 3 forms of lead gen,
yeah,
this is how you do it.
Yes. And everyone, even, you new agents, I think a lot of times people get intimidated. You guys have value, right? A relationship has value. Someone knowing that you're going to fight for their clients has value. So, we're kind of giving you all of that background because I think that really matters for you to truly commit to that. And then once you decide you're going to commit, your value, you have your image, then you just get out there. And so you guys write this down. You can look on, there's searches. When you put on the search, you could put Keller Williams referral, KW referral groups. There are dozens of referral groups that you can join. So number one, you should all be doing that. You should get your name out there. You should be in a relationship and feel comfortable enough with a handful of agents, either in your market center or in other parts of the country or the world, to say, hey, Bob, you and I did a great transaction together. You know how I work. Will you help me by supporting me in this business? With that said, you guys, the only way that you're going to get that is if you then call those agents and put yourself out there. I mean, it always goes back to you're the one who has to be responsible for taking that next step and for moving forward. I know Erin and I have both put each other's names and we fought for business for one another oftentimes. No matter what wonderful stuff I say about Erin and what wonderful stuff she says about me, if we don't take that effort of calling that agent and putting ourselves on the line, we're not going to get that. That was another big hurdle for me. I was like, I'm not begging for business. Like, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. Now I actually have a script that I write. So anytime someone puts my name out there, it sends an automatic message that says, I'm on the AOC. I won these awards. I'm awesome. I love what I do. I've said what I thought like a mini value was. So hopefully they'll come. And then I go out and I give them a call. Do you agree, Erin? You do the same thing, right? And you got to move quick.
Yeah. Oh, you have to move quick. I mean, you guys, New York, it's insane. Like today there was a referral that went out. Someone alerted me of it 15 minutes in and there were already like 30 posts. I was like, oh my, but yeah, you got to be quick.
Yeah. And don't give up though. Cause I've had one and I've, had again, referral partners that have said they called and the agent said, you're the only person that called me. So I'll go with you. And it was, hours later. So some of the times you miss it. And sometimes the other person's off. So it just kind of doesn't work out. So you definitely want to do that. You want to do those searches. We've talked about, you want to go in command and find out where people are. We've talked about, you can use Kelly to move forward. Now, once you have these relationships, you guys, we're going to talk about how my accidental use of command to give an idea to continue to build that relationship. We were very fortunate. We received a referral from someone actually this year. And then she asked me, that same agent said, will you share my listing? And she lives in Utah and we sell, a lot of people move from California to Utah. So I told my assistant, hey, why don't you advertise that? Maybe we'll get some business. What I was thinking about is that I might get a seller who's leaving California, but I wasn't clear, which worked out well because she actually advertised that lady's listing in Utah. So we ended up getting 39 referral leads for $45 that I was then able to tell that agent who was my referral partner, here you are, I've got all this business for you. If you get something, I'd love a 25% referral fee. But you guys, even if she doesn't get it, don't you think I just bought her loyalty for $45? Isn't that a really good deal? Right? Talk about coming from contribution. Steph, please.
Patrice, haven't you, and you've had some success, and I'm sorry, I stepped away. So you already covered this. You've had a lot of success taking classes in other market centers nearby or participating in KW sponsored stuff that's outside so that you can meet the people in person and they could see your lovely self for real as opposed to because those things on Facebook are great. And of course with COVID, across the country, that's great. But anytime you can kind of get in front of KW people from different areas, like you said. You are so right. And I haven't talked about that in any of the classes. And that is something that I should say. And as much as I said referral business wasn't something that I was purposeful about doing, what I meant was I wasn't purposeful up until now about making it a strategy. However, I do know that I present well. I know what I'm talking about. I'm very Keller Williams. I'm very come from contribution. By the way, I'm not saying that I'm any better. I'm saying you also should see that about yourself and kind of get that out there. So I have been purposefully taking classes. I take Bold in different market centers that are within 1 or 2 hours outside of my market center constantly. I've traveled to masterminds. And by the way, no one's inviting me. I have to be purposeful, strategic, and actually look on my regional calendar. And I do this on purpose. So we've had Bold in my market center and I've chosen to go 2 hours away to a different market center, 2 hours each way, by the way. Bay Area traffic, this is like a 40-mile, 2-hour each way traffic, the same as New York, I'm sure. But I do this because it actually puts me in relationship. And you're right. And by the way, Zareen on our team joined us because she met me on Bold. Duck, who's on our team, joined us. They both asked to join our team because they met me at Bold. And you're right. So you guys should be doing that stuff as well. And that's absolutely something in Zoom. We just talked about Erin, where do you guys get the most referrals from?
I was just going to say, I feel like for us, it's really important to be in New Jersey because New Jersey, we have to remember that New Jersey has higher taxes than us. So does Westchester. But I feel like a lot of people are not coming back from Westchester, but there are a lot of people coming back into the city from New Jersey. So I think that's a really important place to get in front of. And also go out like further in Queens and Brooklyn, because a lot of those agents don't have the same platform of OLR that we have. So if you go make friends with those agents, then maybe you can make a mutually beneficial relationship that way as well.
I love
Isn't
that.
it
Thank
an
you.
exponent? Oh, sorry, I was going to say, and it's an exponential thing, right? It grows on. So you guys know so many people, and then you get invited to more masterminds outside of your. Because I know even for me this year, it was my first. What's the one we just had? Mega Camp? Was that the one we just had? Okay, so I'm a mom, and I never can get out to these. I really want to go to these conventions. Like this would be the greatest highlight of my life, and yet I can never attend.
We may never come back, you and me.
Yes, I would probably never come back. That's what would happen. And so meanwhile, I went this year and I still could only attend a few classes, but I made some connections inside those masterminds and connections. And now I have a connection in Vegas. I have one somewhere on the East Coast. See, I need to be better about where he is. But anyway, I've talked to them a few times, and that's because the virtual situation created more opportunities to get into an intimate conversation. And then once you meet those people, they invite you. Like I was going to take one of their maps classes like across the country, because then I would be meeting some more people in a different class. So don't you guys,
that's brilliant.
Can attest to the fact that once you start going to an outside group and participating, then that outside group invites you to more outside groups. And then it just sort of grows like a network.
Yes, it's like just the start. And Stephanie, will you actually share, because you and that Vegas agent, didn't you help to secure a client, you supersized that relationship, right? You met her, you took it to the next step, and share with us what you did after that.
Yeah, I met her at Mega Camp, and then we sort of, there was like it was kind of like what you were saying about Bold. Like Bold is a really, if anyone on the class has not taken Bold is a really like intense class, and you get kind of intimate with the people you're in there with, even if it's 100 people, because you're very vulnerable and you tell a lot of stories, and people get to really see who you are in a really short period of time. So you can get Patrice has like millions of raving fans every time we do a Bold, because she's very vulnerable. And so my point is that some of these classes where you mastermind, people get to see your personality, and they can tell even from 1 hour that they really like you. So they'll call you up and say, hey, want to be partners? And so this girl contacted me and said, you said some really interesting things and think we're a good fit. And so we had a phone coffee, and then she was really cool, and she's so close by. And so like 5 days later, someone's like, I need an agent in Reno. And she's in Vegas, and I know that's not Reno, but I figured she's in Nevada, so maybe she knows someone. So I started creating like connect the dots. And I put these people together, and I figured, she was really excited because this was like 5 days after we had our conversation. She was in the top of mind. So it's just a matter of, same as like we were saying, staying connected with these people, keeping them top of mind. If you're top of mind for their business, then maybe you'll be top of mind for their. I'm sorry, I'm not making sense.
No, it's perfect.
They'll think of you just like you're thinking of them, and it could be a good relationship. So.
And you really bridged two people together that you found a connection. They were in the same state, not in the same market center. And what happens is if she helps to get that referral, and you say, this came from my friend in Las Vegas, she's more likely to get it. So you really you're actually creating new relationships. And isn't that so powerful, you guys? Like, it's one thing to get a deal, but it's one thing to say, I want to give you this person that I trust, and I'm going to help you get business from them. It's just brilliant, right? And that's such a perfect idea. And we talk about, again, for you new, Michael, by the way, thank you for joining. Michael said that he was a new agent, and so that's exciting. Michael, for someone like you, you just started. Are you new in the business, or are you new? Will you come off, or are you just new to KW? We'll see if you
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, it's I'm actually new to Zoom. I'm very new to the business.
Okay. Oh, exciting. Okay. Well, by the way, the cool thing about you in this position that you're in is there are tens of thousands of people that are in your exact position, right? So you are sitting there like, I don't even know what I'm going to do, but you came out of your shell. You came to our class today. And of course, now I'm like pulling you out and making you talk live on this, right? So now if you decide to go out, you can have a conversation and look for people that are new on Facebook. You can call there and talk to some of the market centers, let's say in New Jersey, and say, can you give me name of 10 new agents? And then reach out to those 10 agents and say, look, I took a class this morning on Command with a couple of agents from New York and California. Oh, hi. And the one thing that I know is that they're going to be teaching more classes, and I would love for you to join with me. And and let's grow our business together, right? I'm new, I need an accountability partner. I need referral partners. Why don't we build this together? We know that naturally we're gonna have clients that are gonna be moving back and forth. And by the way, you could say this to everybody. You don't know who's gonna stick out in this business anyway, but that truly is a value, right? Is to go look at your calendar in New York City and find your top favorite instructors. Probably Erin every time, right? But just teasing, but find the instructors that you know have a really good value. You can reach out to somebody in Idaho, in Ohio, in upstate New York, in all of these and say, hey, would you come to this class with me? Isn't that a brilliant way to build a relationship and offer value? Right? I think sometimes as a newer agent, you don't think you have that, but you totally do. And you got time to work with. So
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Well, and it's kind of one of those things. And you guys, there's so many, we're reaching time. There's so many ways. I think the point is, and again, we can go out, is number one, you have to make a decision of if this is something you want to do in your business and if this is going to be a part of your pillar. If you do, then what's your value that you can leverage, right? I just told Michael as a new agent, you've seen what Erin and I are doing here. You hear Stephanie talking. What is it that you feel like you could truly bring a value to other people? And then you got to just do it. And then you reach out to people, give it a try, you count them as a contact, and you just genuinely start building relationships with them and seeing what happens. And I think it will be amazing. And if you choose the right people, they're going to help you build your business in the same way that Erin and I'd fight for a deal for her as hard as I would fight, probably harder than I'd fight for myself, actually. Stephanie on my team, I'll fight for a deal for her harder than myself. When you guys build that out with people, I think you'll be amazed at the rewards, right?
Michael, what were you saying?
I'm sorry, can you hear me? I'm still new to Zoom. Okay, I really find that interesting about using your personal touch. How much do you, for lack of a better term, bank on using your personal touch and the things that you can bring that no one else can bring, as opposed to being like just another agent, you know? Because I'm kind of really getting familiar with everything and the systems. And to be honest, I didn't have the greatest idea of, real estate agents growing up in New York. I was misinformed. So how do you kind of bridge that gap from like your average person who maybe doesn't want to open up to you, who may have a negative connotation?
I'll let Erin go first, but I coached an agent on that. So after I'll hit that after too.
No,
Erin,
please, Patrice, take it away.
So I have a newer agent on my team. She's held her license for a very long time, and she didn't do a lot of deals. So she did partners on all of them. So we coached once a week, and we coached earlier this week. And she literally was saying, I'm not making my phone calls. And the reason I'm not making my phone calls is because she's of a culture that she feels that there's a lot of judgment. And so she had that. And then she also feels that she doesn't have enough real estate experience. So those were her two fears, right? By the way, you just said that you didn't have the greatest opinion of real estate agents. I would say almost all of us have felt that at some point in our career. And I would say if we had the 170,000 Keller Williams agents, at least 150 are going to say that. So that's common.
Except Haley, because her mom is a top rock star. So she's always thought positive things about real estate agents.
So everybody, well, statistically, someone's got to stand out. So we had this coach on there, right? So Michael, you have your own preconceived notions and your fears, right? You have very similar fears that your clients have. And so what we talked about is that you're not going to go and get all of the knowledge tomorrow. You're not going to know every neighborhood. You're not going to be a contract expert. But the one thing that you are an expert in that you just shared is the idea of what people feel as a real estate agent. You have fear, and you have all of those natural emotions that, by the way, your clients have because they're getting into the largest transaction of their life, right? You are in the #1 real estate company in the world, and you just are sitting here doing a mastermind with some pretty mega agents from all over the country, right? That's true. So imagine if you're having a conversation with someone that you meet on the subway tomorrow who's thinking about buying a house and they're terrified about the market. And you literally say, you know what, I know exactly how you feel. I just got into this business. We've got COVID. It's always tricky. There's so much competition. I understand your fear, and I totally get it, actually. And I can tell you one thing, if you were to hire me as an agent, the one thing I can promise you is #1, I have access to some of the most brilliant minds in real estate. #2, I have people that will mentor me and tell me everything that I need to know. But the one thing that I can count on and that you could count on in me, because I'm going through the same journey that you are with fear, is that I want to be your partner through every step of it, and no one's going to fight for you as hard as I will. No one's going to go through and take the time to hold your hand and learn this process in the same way that you have, right? So you just have to think whatever it is that you're feeling, that's your sales point. Whatever it is that you value and that is popping up in your brain, there are going to be, most of the people in the world are feeling the same thing that you are. Everybody just wants to be loved and to be right. And if you can find that, somebody will help you with every other thing. Because if you walk in with a client and go to your team leader, they're going to handhold you for every step, right? And if that's all you've got is that fear and that mindset, then you lead with that and you find people with those same things and you guys have a natural discussion or relationship. And I promise you, you'll close business all day long. And if you can look at people and say, look, I don't know everything about real estate, but I want to know everything about you. And I promise you, I'm going to make this the best transaction you've ever had. And in fact, this is the first one of my career. So I need this to work better than anything else. Oh, and by the way, you don't pay me unless we have a successful closing. Isn't that cool? I work for you for free. The only way that you pay me is if I actually close a deal. So this is free. You won't ever find an attorney like that, right? If you can sell with that and truly have that image, can you see yourself doing that?
I'm sorry.
Can you see yourself doing that kind of thing?
I can, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I especially like when you said everyone just wants to be loved and right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you get there, and I talk a lot, by the way, always. It's something I want to work on, but you just ask them questions. And if you just keep turning it around to ask them nurturing questions and bold, and there are lots of scripts for that, I think you'll do really well. So, and I know we're getting toward the end of our time, Erin. Do you have anything that you want to say on that before?
No, I definitely agree with you. And also, look at who brought you into the business. She's amazing. So if you ever do need help, don't be afraid to ask Haley if you could partner with her. If it would make you feel more comfortable, and she's a top agent in our office, so you wouldn't be in better hands. But thank you everyone for joining. I know I have to run.
Thank you, Erin. And Erin can go and we can finish up. So Steph, you go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say that,
Thank you, Erin.
Patrice has been mentoring me for 3 years. So I can attest to the fact that it's Patrice's personality that creates all the business and success for her. And I don't know, Michael, your background. I've spent 15 years working in sales, and I've been successful my entire career of sales only because I never sold anything. And that's what I always tell people. They say, well, what's your success in sales? And I say, I don't sell anything. I've never sold a thing. I'm a people, it all starts with you and your, we talk a lot, Patrice coaches a lot on your value statement. Who are you as a person? Do you represent your values? So if you don't see yourself as the slimy used car salesman, you aren't. You're coming to a client from contribution, and you're facilitating the biggest experience of their life. And you're to some people, you would be greater than a doctor. You are basically holding their hand. So it all starts with mindset. Where are you coming from? You will exude whatever you want to project into the world. So if you're not a sleazeball, then you won't be one. And you'll still be really successful because you'll be a diamond in the rough. And trust me, there's plenty of sleazeball real estate agents out there, and they're just going to keep doing their thing. And Patrice always teaches us, just shine above them. When people figure out that they can actually have a genuine, real, great real estate agent,
yep,
we're going to put those people out of business eventually.
Yeah.
They're still there, but it's make it your mission to, diffuse that concept.
Yeah, and lead with that, right? Yeah. Literally lead. Don't hide from it. Literally bring that up. This is what I thought before I got in the business. And it's my mission to do something a little bit different. Let me tell you what's important to me and how I want to be different. What are you looking for in an agent so that I can make sure that when you trust me, you're going to get exactly what you want, because that's all I want, right?
And by the way, we have the sweetest, most genuine guy on our team. And when he first started, he was like, I'm going to get eaten alive. And I'm like, no, as soon as they get wind of how fabulous you are, they're just going to love it. And now he's getting super successful. I told him, I taught him a few tricks to clean it up, not salesy, just to, direct people in the right way. And now he's on fire because he's a genuinely amazing guy. And they just think they hit the jackpot when he lands in their lap,
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll be the same thing for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm just taking it all in. And probably the biggest hurdle for me is developing the right mindset, like you're all mentioning right now. I'm currently reading Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So
I love that. That is awesome. So I'm going to read that again. It'll probably be my 5th time I'm reading that this weekend. The Compound Effect is a great one. Fierce Conversations is phenomenal. It's not quite a real estate book. And yet, it's exactly what you're talking about, is that people have their preconceived notions. And if you're thinking about asking questions because that's what all this business is, right? Is asking the questions in a way that will get them to the outcome that you're hoping to get to, and having them think about things differently. And again, taking your preconceived notions and literally using that as a guide. So that's a wonderful book. So again, all of those there's so many books that are amazing. The One Thing is really, really great. And then look at the scripts classes, and the scripts, nobody wants to be salesy either. And I'm not salesy by any means, but think of the scripts as just like a little guide to get back on track. Like, especially as a new agent, it'll be really helpful for you because you want to build relationships, but you also would like to, at some point, get toward a closing at the same time. So make sure you're using that balance of who you are, but use the scripts as a way to get, as a guide to get to your destination too. Like, see it as a map a little bit. Does that help?
Where can I find all these scripts?
So take an Ignite class. So go to, again, you just started. So Ignite is perfect. So they will go through all of the process. Anytime there's bold, you want to take a bold class. And again, do exactly what Stephanie reminded me to suggest, is take one in anywhere. Take one somewhere that you're going to meet with other agents that you can build a natural relationship with, because you'll just be, you know what I mean? You know how that natural thing happens? Everybody is potentially your client and your referral partner. And sometimes that's a blessing and a curse. But start being strategic of looking for people that seem like, I keep seeing the light, like my Christmas star. And when you guys were talking about like all the sleaze bags, be that, right? Be that star that stands out in the crowd. People will notice it. And those people that do will have similar values to you. So you'll know that they're probably in alignment, and go deep with those agents and have great ideas and take classes together. And you just literally build it. You'll be amazed, Michael. In a year from now, it'll be phenomenal. So, and you guys, I just want to make sure to say, so Erin and I are going to do this same series. This is class number 3. So on Wednesday, she's teaching the MREA database class. So make sure you guys come. Same exact time, same exact link. I'm taking it in we're teaching California as well, an hour and a half before. So you can take either one if you'd like to come. And Bonnie came to both. So yay, today she's been our star pupil who's been there. We had someone from France and Danville today. The other thing that Erin and I are going to do, because these conversations, this is all about dialogue, we're going to start doing a mastermind every Friday morning before these classes. We don't have it figured out exactly yet. We have to get the calendar. So just keep coming to that and just keep showing up for stuff, Michael. Showing your face, asking questions. And yeah, I would have never guessed that I don't mind leading with, I'm new, by the way. But I also, when I was new, nobody knew I was new, ever. No one ever knew I was new, because I just led with, like, I asked questions and I found out the answers. So it's okay to lead with that you're new, but I also don't want people, I think sometimes people feel like they have to tell someone they're new, like, oh, I got to make sure to put that in the box. If you're going to represent professionally and get someone, Haley or someone in your market center, to guide you every step of the way, I don't think you have to like tattle on yourself either. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I wouldn't hide it. If they ask, you tell. But I think that I don't think it has to be like your claim to fame, unless you think that it'll benefit you in your business. Does anyone else have a topic on that? Because I think that comes up a lot with new agents. Hi, Eileen. I see
Hi.
you now.
I just wanted to
gonna
add one thing that has, and forgive me if there's a little bit of noise. I've actually been outside the whole time. I totally joined unplanned. I had no idea I was going to join the call, but it's like one of the things that really inspires me to keep going. So I was thinking that after you mentioned all these things about the, connecting with other agents when you're saying social media, you mentioned your newsletter, and then Bonnie knows as well. We're both on the team. We're putting our newsletter out. I mean, I was thinking I should contact some of the people on Instagram that are also Keller Williams, because I have continuously been like connecting on Instagram with like Keller Williams Japan, Keller Williams Italy, whatever. And then, but my idea for the past several months has been like, I just want to have a little global feature section in my newsletter. So, I mean, I should pick maybe like the places that I've had more familiarity with, like Italy and, whether it's London or Germany, because I've been there personally and have a little more of a connection. And then maybe, so should I be reaching out to these people and say, I would love to feature your properties in my newsletter? Is that a good idea?
So I know my answer. What does everybody else think? Yes.
Okay.
I think it's brilliant, right? And by the way, not everybody who's receiving your newsletter is going to want to see that, but what if someone is, right? And what if they've just changed the perception of you? They now see you as a global agent that if something
Well,
pops into their mind,
yeah.
they're just more likely. So I love it.
And that's really kind of how I want to appear anyway, because I mean, in my long-term idea of staying motivated, that's why I feel like Keller Williams is the best fit, because I want to have that global approach, and that's what keeps me going. So I'm like, well, why would I not do that? So I should just stop putting that idea off and actually do it.
Okay, so I am expecting a commitment. So by Wednesday, I hope that you have at least contacted a couple of people. I'm not sure how
Okay.
it's going to be, but I would love for you to come back on and share that. And Eileen, like, you know, we have go through the bold life by design, and I know I'm over time, so sorry, because I can get a little bit wordy and I get so excited. That's my superpower is I'm very passionate. But imagine you just gave yourself a seed. This is something that's important to me. This is how I want to run my life. This is how I want to run my business. That's your brand. That's your image. I'm hashtag happy agent. Maybe, by the way, I also use global agent. So feel free to share it or pick a different one.
That's
But
okay. That's okay.
maybe it's like traveling Eileen, right? Hashtag traveling Eileen.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I'm
that's your
just the
thing.
outside.
And now that's your persona. And you literally build your business around something that you're passionate about, something that will interest you. And you guys, lead gen is so much more fun if you're doing it with something that you actually like, with people that you love. Like I talk to 100 people a week. It's not 100 terrible phone calls. I tried that expireds, and by the way, those work really well for quick business. I just wasn't good at it. So I've changed it to be something that I'm good. So Eileen, if you're passionate about this, then go deep.
I almost dropped my phone. I'm
I
sorry.
know, I saw that. I'm like, oh, but I love
Yeah.
that. Please,
No.
will you come back and share more about that and come to some
Yeah.
more
I mean,
stuff?
I should just contact, because there are several people that have just sent brief messages on Instagram, for example, like whether it was Sweden or Italy, and France, and a couple maybe like in South Florida or something like that. And I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't say, oh, I'd love to feature your property in my newsletter, because I have people in the New York, New Jersey area, you know. So
Yes. And then, by
yeah.
the way, feature them on your Facebook. So I literally say, hey, tag me whenever you have a great listing and I'll share it. And then some of
Okay.
the times that I share it, I don't do it every time, but when I do, you can share it and click on tagging a lot of extra people, right? You can ask them to connect you with more people in different countries. So just the whole point is you just don't stop. I love that. You take that seed, Eileen, and you just go and go and go. And then you come back and share with us all the ideas and you inspire us back. Who said
Yeah,
they're
because
afraid of
I
chef?
prefer not to only run around the world. I want to run around the world and also make money. So I need to think better.
Well, girl, we're about to be
I'm
friends because
outside
that is
right now.
exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
outside right now. So
I love it.
all right, thank you.
I think that's awesome. Thank you. And Michael, I think you should be cooking for all of us, by the way. So number one.
Absolutely. It would be a pleasure.
But you know, again, those are more groups, by the way. So this is off of the referral, but you should be joining and being in these kind of like groups and masterminds, not even looking for business, with people that are also into food, that are into music. And you just put yourself out there and you start having natural relationships and connections with them too, right? And then it just hopefully will naturally come up that you're a realtor. You don't want to be salesy with those things, but you also want to build relationships in there. And it doesn't hurt once you've had a communication back and forth, then you can reach out to that client, that potential client, right? And say, hey, I love cooking and I love music and I have to pay the bills a different way because we lost some of those two avenues, right? Who do you know who's thinking of buying or selling that may be interested? And I personally always say in the next 2 years, and then go, okay, no problem that you don't have anybody now. What I find is that when I ask someone, they usually don't have someone, but sometimes it triggers. So if you don't mind, I'm going to check back with you next month. And of course, we're going to be in this group and I want to be your friend anyway. But don't be surprised when I ask you again, because that's just how I pay the bills.
Yeah, I remember in the book $1 Million Real Estate, they said that most people can only remember 2 agents, real estate agents, in their memory bank.
Yeah.
So you're either 1 or maybe 2. So that's part of the whole psychology of keep touching people, right?
100%. So
and it sounds like your main theme is just be genuine and ask for business, right?
okay, here's my microphone. That's my mic drop, right? That's exactly what it is. Eileen's the traveling. You've got the musician and the chef thing, which, by the way, I think is popular for a dude. So I'm sure you're going to get a lot more, you're going to get a lot of attention from that. Stephanie's kids are gluten-free. I'm always telling her that she needs to lead with, like, she's constantly doing all this cooking. They've been doing camping this summer, and she's been seeing a lot more people that are attracted to who she is naturally, and she gets to have real, genuine conversations. So Michael, that's exactly it. And if you build your business this way, and make sure you come on Wednesday, and then you supersize it by doing all the Keller Williams models and doing those proper touches, you're gonna be amazed. Like, you're gonna be up on a stage teaching these classes someday. It's just gonna be really neat. And Eileen and I are gonna have to fly back into the country to see you.
Fingers crossed. That's the plan.
Okay. I didn't see with my glasses, so I thought you were flipping me off. So I'm glad you said it was right.
Fingers crossed.
When you're on Zoom, you can't do that fast because it looks kind of like you. Lesson number 1. Thank you guys all so much for joining. We'll see you on Wednesday, I hope. Bonnie, thanks for coming to both of our classes. Is there anything that you want to say before you go?
These were all great, and I will keep showing up.
I love it. I love it. Bye, everybody. See you on Wednesday. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.